Welcome back, everybody, to Life in Louisville. I'm Katie, and I'm going to be giving you all the information you need to know about living in Louisville, Kentucky. Today's video is going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Louisville. So let's jump right in. First, let's go over some of the pros of living in Louisville, Kentucky. The first pro is that we have great parks and outdoor recreation. Take Cherokee Park, for example. It's right in the heart of the city limits of Louisville. It's a 409-acre park, and it was designed in 1891 by Frederick Law Olmsted, who is the father of landscape architecture. And he's the same guy who designed Central Park in New York City. If you don't want to check out Cherokee Park, you can also look at any of our other 120 other parks in the city of Louisville, which include Seneca Park, the Parklands, Waterfront Park, which is a really great park right along the Ohio River. It has a walking bridge that goes over to the state of Indiana and back. So if you have kids or you just like to take a walk, it's really fun to walk across to Indiana and then walk back to Kentucky. There's also Iroquois Park, which boasts a beautiful amphitheater. It's a really nice outdoor concert venue that people really enjoy in Louisville. Additionally, we have one of the largest urban forests, which is Jefferson Memorial Forest. You can go hiking and camping there. There's so many great outdoor recreation activities there as well. So it's definitely a pro, all of our great parks and outdoor opportunities. A pro is one of our outdoor parks and recreation. The next pro of living in Louisville is the cost of living. We have lower property taxes compared to the national average. We also have more affordable housing. We all know that the housing market is rising and has been rising for several years, but Louisville's median home price is still lower than the national average. As of May 2022, our median house price sits right at $240,200, and our median rent is $981 a month. Additionally, we have affordable groceries, utilities, health care. All of those things are below the national average. The one expense that we do have that's slightly higher than the national average would be our transportation costs. Gas prices are rising across the U.S. right now, but just generally speaking, to maintain your automobile, to purchase your automobile, and to have gas is about 3% higher in Louisville compared to other cities of our size. Another pro of living in Louisville is all of the entertainment and attractions that we have to offer. Louisville is known as being a foodie city. It's been ranked as one of the top foodie cities in the U.S. on multiple different scales. But if you love to try interesting food, if you love to try new restaurants, Louisville is a great place to do that. If you're ever in Louisville, be sure to check out some of my favorites, Feast Barbecue, which is in the New Lou area, as well as Taco Luchador. And if you're looking for fine dining, definitely check out Jack Fry's. Louisville also has the Kentucky Derby. It's one of the most famous horse races in all of history. It's held on the first Saturday of May. It's the end of a 2-week-long celebration called the Kentucky Derby Festival, and it's the first leg of the Triple Crown, and some sports fanatics have said it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. In addition to the Kentucky Derby, we also have some amazing music festivals that come to Louisville. You may have heard of Bourbon and Beyond or Live Out Loud, to name a few. We also have museums such as the Kentucky Derby Museum, the 21C Museum, as well as the Kentucky Science Center. And lastly, if you like sports, there's lots of opportunities to be entertained by sports here. We've got the University of Louisville Cardinals, and they're part of the ACC, so we have all sorts of great teams coming to Louisville to compete. Clemson, Florida State, all of those ACC teams are here competing against our Cards. Additionally, we have the Louisville Bats, which is our minor league baseball team, as well as Louisville City FC, which is our professional soccer club. Another pro of living in Louisville is the abundant job opportunities. We have quite a few major corporations here. That includes Humana, Zappos, GE, UPS, Yum Brands, Papa John's, Ford, just to name a few. So if you are a job seeker looking for jobs in manufacturing, healthcare, government, education, or mailing and shipping, there's going to be a great opportunity here for you. And the bottom line is that there's plenty of opportunities in Louisville for eager job seekers. Now let's go over some of the cons. First is our public transportation system. If you're used to living in a larger city, the public transportation in Louisville is going to fall short for you. We don't have a subway system. We do have a public bus system, but mostly in Louisville, you're going to have a car to be able to get around the city. We have a few neighborhoods that are walkable, but mostly they are not walkable, and you really do need to have a car to live here. Sometimes our traffic can get pretty bad during rush hour. I mean, it's nothing in comparison to the biggest cities in America, but we definitely do get some traffic around those rush hour times. And also keep in mind, as I said earlier, that the only part of our cost of living that's higher than the national average is actually transportation costs. Another reason why the public transportation struggles is because I personally don't think Louisville is really set up very well for inclement weather. So I actually grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and I just noticed a large difference. Like some of these cities that are a little bit further north, like Indianapolis, they have the infrastructure, they have the grounds crews and the maintenance crews to be able to really get the city cleaned up when we have a snowstorm. So when it does snow in Louisville, which is not a ton, but when it does snow, pretty much the whole city shuts down. You can expect for, the bread and the water to be cleared out from the shelves. You can expect school to be canceled. And if you're from the north, you might think it's just for, 1 or 2 inches of snow. It's no big deal. But people in Louisville tend to be fairly cautious about the snow and the weather. Another con is the public school system. Now, I have to give you a disclaimer. My kids are elementary school students in the public school system. So I found a way to work around that. But the way that it's a pro is that it can be very confusing. Our public school system is Jefferson County Public Schools, and it is a county-wide school system. We have 101,000 students and about 150 schools in our school district. So we are one of the nation's largest school district, and it's different than a lot of other cities. If you visited Columbus or Cincinnati or Indianapolis, their public school systems for the city are much smaller, and then they have a lot of surrounding suburban school districts. But that's not how it works in Louisville. The entire county is one big school district. It's very confusing to people because it's not totally dependent upon where you live as to which school you're going to go to. You're going to be in a cluster. And if you're interested in learning more about the public school system, definitely feel free to reach out to me or watch one of my future videos about the public school system and navigating that. But it is one of the cons of living in Louisville. Before the pandemic, 70% of the state's lowest performing schools were within Jefferson County Public Schools. As a result of the lower than average schools that we have here in Louisville, a lot of people turn to the private school system. We have a robust Catholic school system in Louisville, and the way that this is a con, while it's nice that we have this opportunity if families are able to go that route, the cost of tuition for some of our Catholic high schools starts at around $15,000 per year. So it's definitely a pro or a con if you're looking for affordable education. That's going to be a challenge for you in Louisville. The next con of living in Louisville is the weather. It's kind of a pro and it's kind of a con, but in this sense, I'm going to use it as the con because our summer averages are in the high 80s, but we do have really high humidity. So in the summertime, it can feel quite sticky and balmy. It gets really hot, so you're going to want to find a pool to swim in. The other thing is the risk of flooding in Louisville. It seems like we have a lot of rain. I know we have a lot of flash flooding throughout the spring. Our average annual rainfall is around 46 inches, but it seems like as a realtor, I'm hearing all the time of clients reaching out, their basement's flooded. So you really got to watch for that. Make sure you get your basement waterproofed. But we do tend to have quite a bit of flash flooding. And then we also have some severe weather, which includes tornadoes that come through Louisville. So you have to be careful about that as well. Another con is that sometimes people are aware that Louisville has higher than average crime rates. So it really depends on how the city measures those, but we have a couple of areas of Louisville, like I said, where those crime rates are higher than our national average, but there's also plenty of places to live that are safe and docile within our city. Now, the last con that I wanted to share actually comes from my kids, Bryson and Parker, but they feel that it's a con living in Louisville and even in the state of Kentucky that we do not have a professional football or a professional basketball team. So if that's a deal breaker for you, you might not want to move to Louisville, Kentucky. So those are our pros and cons of living in Louisville, Kentucky. If you're interested in learning more about what life in Louisville is like, please subscribe to my channel and also watch some of my other videos. If you're thinking about moving to Louisville or need additional information, don't hesitate to reach out. I love talking about my city and I'd be happy to help you in any ways that I can. Thanks for watching.